Good afternoon. Welcome to Good Guy Sports. I'm Jackson Gerke, alongside you with our co-hosts Blake Gerke and Mike Roby. Um, Blake Lumberger is going to be sitting out for this one because he's currently on vacation in Hawaii on what is a beautiful site and postcard and just a really just and really just nice weather and just and nice calming waves and beautiful crisp air of the beach. And that's where he's currently that's where he's currently staying, and we hope him for the best. And I will we will be thinking of him, and I'm sure uh, um he will be and I'm sure he will be with us whenever he is not with us on our program. We'll always have him deep and truly in our hearts, no matter if he's here with us or not, or if he's not with us. We will always think of him, and I'm sure he'll follow the show many of us do, and I'm sure that we and I'm sure that we will all too, whether he's with us or not. All right, now let's talk some sports now and recap with the NBA. Before I before I dump in and do a deep dive of the Eastern Conference Finals on game one for both the Eastern and Western Conference Final, we have had two game sevens that won by the road team. That's never happened in an NBA game, probably in like years or ever before. Where we had the Timberwolves um in the last round against the Denver Nuggets. Well, I can tell you this, that the where you had the Timberwolves, the Nuggets had a 20-point lead at halftime, and yet they choked. And if you ever seen Mike Malone's post game press conference, he didn't even want to talk about it, and that's just how devastating and how just heartbroken he is with his fan base. And then the Joker, just seemingly, we thought he was going to be the next Michael Jordan and just going to be and thought we were going to have a new NBA dynasty, and yet it doesn't look like it's going to happen. And then fast forward now to the Western Conference Finals, where the Dallas Mavericks won a game one on the road for the um, first time ever this postseason, prior to losing in the last few rounds, and having Kyrie and Luka show up, which is not a surprise to me. And they found a way to get the win on the road, in front of the Timberwolves fans at Target Center. And then flipping it over to the Eastern Conference, you had the Pacers and the Knicks, took it to 7 games up in Madison Square Garden, and the Pacers just really just found a way to get it done on the road in front of the home fans at MSG. And I've said it before, I'm going to say it again, turning into to the world's quietest arena, like my brother Blake said. And yeah, the Pacers just really just really showed up. What looked to me that is that they had a bunch of players just came off the bench and just found a way to make more buckets, and just thought the Knicks couldn't guard him, but yet they made big plays, and really just found a way to win, and just really showed no quit on them. And then those and then as for the Knicks, yeah, the reason why I mean, they had their opportunity. They were up 3-2 in the series, and yet the Pacers just forced the game 6 and 7, and and it looked to me that the reason why the Knicks just couldn't close out the series in either game or 6 or 7 is because they were banged up, and because in injuries, and they just choked, and just really looked out of sorts to me. And I think that just really says of how this Pacers team just really just finds ways to win, and just talk and by far which never even happens before in the NBA, where you just in different coaching situations where you're for putting your teams in a great position and 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 the Pacers just somehow got it done anyway, despite all the hype for the Knicks and for the fans. It's just really wanted to see a Knicks Celtics Eastern Conference Finals, which doesn't look like it's going to happen, and it's not going to. And I'm sure we can all agree with that, whether you like it or not. And but the Pacers just find a way to get it done in front of the in front in front of the hostile environment crowd at Madison Square Garden. Your home fans are just going to be devastated, and Spike Lee and Stephen A. just really should have got some pep talk with them in front of the fans and crowd, and just didn't. And yet they tried hard, but the Pacers just had other ideas and found a way to win Game 7, and now it sets up to a Celtics Pacers Game 7, which by the way, the Celtics did win Game 1 on Tuesday. So as the Pacers, if they can go toe to toe with the Celtics, and if I had to guess for this Eastern Conference Finals preview, yeah, I don't think I see it happening. But always great to have you guys on here on Good Guys Sports. Blake, Mike, great to have you as always. So let me ask you guys this: what is your biggest takeaways so far for where we are in in the NBA playoffs?
Well, you're right. I mean, we did see some pretty crazy game sevens last round, and I certainly did not expect Minnesota to climb out of the hole they were in that game seven, particularly in Denver as well. But you have to say it's hard to not be impressed by this Timberwolves team. They played really hard defense. Anthony Edwards is obviously their emerging star player. They got the two bigs with Gobert and Towns there, and you got to say they're playing old school basketball. You know, they're bringing it back to the 90s. They're playing defense. They're not solely relying on threes. They do make their threes, and they've got good shooters, but this is a tough team, man. I mean, they make you win, and I think I think Denver, I wouldn't say they underestimated them, but they were certainly surprised, particularly in those first two games of the series, how physical Minnesota was with them. And you could tell it affected them. And they were able to get back into the series, obviously, and it ended up being kind of an all-time series, you know, seven gamer that Minnesota was able to climb back into. But yeah, I mean, obviously they lost the first game against Dallas, but I certainly wouldn't rule them out in this series.
Do you think they were just worn out because of the Nuggets? I mean, Minnesota allowed 62 points in the paint.
Oh, you mean like the reason that Minnesota lost last night?
Yeah.
You mean? Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. That was certainly the prevailing. I mean, to be fair, it was a close game. So I mean, it's not like
Yeah,
Dallas blew them out
108
or
to
anything.
105.
Yeah, it was pretty much neck and neck the whole time. But yeah, I think Edwards in particular, you could tell he was definitely struggling on defense, in particular, keeping up with Kyrie and Luka. And to be fair, I think they're going to have as great as I just compliment their defense and as great as it's been. I think
Yeah.
any defense is going to have trouble keeping up with Luka and Kyrie for a full
Yeah.
series. So
Well, Luka came out in the fourth quarter and just turned everything up a notch. He
yeah,
scored
yeah,
15 points in the fourth quarter, and
that's what he's best at, just being a killer in those
yeah,
late game situations, right? And so
I think he's certainly matured as a player in the last few years.
definitely, yeah, definitely, and obviously having somebody that can score at ease like that is obviously a huge benefit. And then add Kyrie into the mix, and they've a lot of their role players have stepped up defensively as well. So it kind of feels like it's going to be a seven gamer as well, similar to their previous round, Minnesota and Denver.
It's definitely going to be a good series. Who would have thought that Dallas would have two Final Four teams in the NBA and the NHL?
Yeah, it's crazy. I think Minnesota and Dallas is such a strange Western Conference Finals as well, right? Because I don't know, for some reason in my head, Minnesota and Dallas aren't on the West Coast, just geographically, you know what I mean? So
yeah,
just in my head, that seems like a weird. I just always associate like the Western Conference Finals having a team from like California or Phoenix or something in it. But yeah, no, I think it's definitely maybe for like the casual NBA fan, it's not
Mhm.
like Lakers, Warriors with LeBron and Steph. But if you're like, if you've actually watched a lot of basketball this season, you'll know that Anthony Edwards and Luka are two of the most
Yeah.
exciting players in the league to watch. So I think it's going to be an excellent series
Yeah.
from a fan perspective as well.
Well, let me ask you all this, talking about the Celtics and the Pacers. Is Pacers bench better than the Celtics?
Mm,
I think for me, the Pacers,
it's a big call.
yeah, the Pacers to me just look a lot better offensively. Those guys just somehow make big buckets and just make big plays offensively on each end of the floor with their
Well, they did lose the first game. I mean,
well, yeah,
Yeah. They
yeah,
were
for
barely.
that team.
They
they
should
were
So
have won.
they were 5 points up with less
They
than
should have won. Yeah.
3 minutes. You know, Caitlin Brown taking that inbound pass in the corner and just hit and
That was a
draining that
crazy shot.
3 point shot,
That was so
you know,
clutch.
to
Yeah.
tie the game was, you know, but the Celtics kind of just looked like they were just kind of casual.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the main worry that you'd have is they get up. It seems like a lot of times whenever I watch them this year, they get up to a really big lead and then all of a sudden they just kind of let teams
Hmm.
back in. I mean, I think they're a considerably better team than Indiana. I think Indiana's kind of done well to get this far, but they play really similar to Minnesota. They play really hard
Hmm.
and you saw in that game 7 against the Knicks at MSG, like if they shoot that well, they're gonna win the NBA Finals because they were
Yeah.
literally shooting at a historic clip in that game. Which if you're gonna do that, might as well be a game 7,
Yeah.
right? So Knicks fans will feel like of all the games they could
Yeah.
have, shot the lights out, it was against them. So
It looked like the Pacers were just outrunning them.
yeah, no, they've got a high flying offense for sure. So if Boston's not careful, then this series could definitely go longer than what they would like to.
Yeah.
To me, one other thing I'd like to add for the Knicks is that to me, I feel like their fans and their team really slipped away their because their team to me, I feel like they couldn't get over the hump because they haven't made the conference finals since 2000, that longer of a drought. So I feel like those fans are just really what I think is going to be more patience for this for for this franchise for the team organization because those fans just really wish they had like a Stephen Curry or even a Kevin Durant kind of player. I feel like you got star players, but I feel like they don't have enough, which is what I think New York passionate fans really wish they had. So that's why the Knicks are not advancing. But if I were a Knicks fan, um, involving in this fan base, I really would feel more comfortable having a player like a star player like KD or Stephen Curry or even a Stephen Curry or Tim Duncan kind of guy, Michael Jordan or Kobe or stuff like that. So I feel like
Jalen Brunson had a pretty good postseason though.
yeah, he did, but still,
I take your point
I
though.
just
I
don't
do
think it's
think they'll look to make a
I just
couple
don't think
of
it's quite enough for a
moves.
team to make it this far for this far push. But to me, I just feel like they got to do a better job in the offseason addressing that and get star players like the Golden State Warriors did or the
Yeah,
Spurs
I do think the argument for them and a lot of other teams though is like if we're healthy, like we're a better team than Indiana, who's in the conference finals right now. So they're probably thinking to themselves, if we have all of our guys healthy, we can make the Eastern Conference final, particularly in the Eastern Conference as well. It's much easier conference right now. If you think about some of the teams that are emerging in the West, like OKC and Minnesota and some of these young teams, the Spurs have Wembanyama and stuff. The East is a bit more wide open. So I take your point, Jack. I do think the Knicks will look to make some moves. I don't know if it's going to be that splashy of a move like you have in mind with the KD type acquisition. They might have the cap space to do it, but I don't really know who that player is. Maybe they go for
about
some
and the Cupo. I don't think that's going to happen.
I mean, probably not, but it's not as crazy as you might think. Maybe not next year, but if the Bucks have another disappointing postseason next year, I certainly wouldn't rule it out. And yeah, I mean, imagine him slam dunking at MSG. They wouldn't love that at all up there in New York, would they? So, but
Oh,
yeah, no,
the fans would really be into it.
yeah, for
Totally.
sure.
I agree. They would just really be very passionate, and the fan base would really fall in love with this player. Spike Lee and Stephen A will will go crazy and into it if that happens. I doubt it
Yeah,
though.
yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, no, and I think I definitely think that's gonna be a team that is close to where they want to be. So they're going to make some moves and kind of build up. Brunson's a great player. He had a great postseason. I think overall, Knicks had a positive season. But yeah, going back to the Boston Pacers series, I do think we saw last night that Indiana is definitely going to score a lot of points and they're going to make it a competitive series. So I think the key is going to come down to how Boston can defend Halliburton. He's kind of really the main man, isn't he, offensively for Indiana? And you saw on some of those late possessions as well. And Drew Holiday, I think it was for Boston, was defending Halliburton one-on-one, getting in his face. And you saw at the end there, he forced him to dribble it off his leg, I think, and go out of bounds sort of late in crunch time, with which got Boston kind of back into the game. So I do think for this series they'll be fine because they've got great perimeter defenders, but I do think they'll want to get Porzingis back and healthy, particularly if they make it to the NBA Finals and they come up against some of the size that Minnesota would have, with Towns and Gobert, etc. So I think Porzingis will be maybe not missed massively against Indiana, but I think the reports have him coming back maybe game 3 or 4 of this series. So one to keep an eye on.
Yeah. Well, we'll find out tonight.
Indeed, yeah.
Hopefully, we'll find out more. And we'll definitely recap it all on our show for another date, another time, and we'll have it all for you on Good Guy Sports, and we will break it all down. If anything we know, we'll have updates for you. As soon as soon as we possible as we get to where topics are for next week. But right now we are going to move on and talk some NHL hockey. And yeah, Blake, the Carolina Hurricanes, not the season you were hoping for, but look, I was watching the game.
All right. See you guys
and
later.
yeah, you're watching the game, and it looked like you were leaving the arena early because of how the
I did
rain.
not actually. I stayed the whole time.
You stayed the entire time. See, I thought you were going to be one of those fans that you were going to exit the
Nah,
arena and
I'm a
leave
true
early
fan.
and just see as a Hurricanes fan, you would just see yourself, if your team is losing bad like this. I thought you were
We
going to
weren't
be
losing bad though.
That's the thing. They weren't losing bad.
No, we should have won the game.
I asked you last week, like, about Chris Crater coming back for the Rangers, and
Oh, we're very familiar with him
oh
now,
my
aren't we?
goodness. And he scores a hat trick in the third period.
Crazy.
I was like, man.
Yeah, we should have listened to your scouting report more, Uncle Mike. Yeah, we
Man.
really we should have done our homework on him more. And crazy. Yeah, I mean,
Oh, I'm
sometimes
sure after the second period, I mean, with the Canes up 3-1, everybody was just like,
it was
just
a good
ecstatic.
atmosphere.
It was a great
Yeah, people
atmosphere.
were ready for game 7, and the fans would get a
Yeah.
bit nervous up there in New York for that. But sometimes in hockey, the Canes had it the previous couple
Oh
games
man,
where you just got a hot third period.
I was feeling for you. I've been there.
It's tough.
It,
Yeah,
yeah,
as a Caps fan, we've had some tough playoff losses, right?
yeah. I mean, yeah.
So
Well,
Yeah,
did you at least have a good time?
I had a great time. Yes, the
There you
game
go.
was very fun. The fans made it a really good atmosphere. They made it tough start. We got off to a good start as well. Got that early goal. But I think overall, positive season. Maybe
Mhm.
not exceeding expectations. Winning a playoff series. They got one round further last year, obviously, to the Eastern Conference Finals. But you could argue these two teams playing now, New York and Florida, are just two really excellent hockey teams. So, ultimately the margins are small, like we've been saying the past couple weeks in these playoffs. So the Hurricanes just fell a little bit short, but we did bring back Coach Brindamore as well, signing a new extension. So he gets to continue to build this team up.
Good.
And I think maybe some acquisitions around the edge will be what we do in this offseason.
Yeah, that's good.
And I guess jumping to the Eastern Conference Finals, right? There's a pretty comprehensive win last night, right, Jack?
So the Florida Panthers just go to Madison Square Garden, as like you said, the Rangers did beat you guys in the last round, and yet beat you guys in the last round, and then last night on Tuesday in game 1, the Florida Panthers actually shut out the Rangers at home, and quiets the MSG crowd for the second night in a row. But this time in hockey, the Knicks did get bounced, and and their team and players are booked their trip to Cancun for vacation. But at least the Rangers are still in town. At least you got something to enjoy about for now for the fans up in MSG before like concerts take over and stuff up there up in the world's most famous arena. But right now the Panthers just seem to be a team just unstoppable. You don't want to be messing with. Just somehow finds ways to win on the road or at home, no matter where they play. Those fighting cats, they call them, the other team in special sports, just somehow found a way to win in a 3-0 shutout. But if you're the Rangers, yeah, you lost game 1, but you got to find a way to bounce back in the next game. But at least you're a Rangers fan. You beat the Hurricanes. You beat the Hurricanes in front of their home crowd at PNC Arena, and now you lose a 3-0 game at home to the defending Eastern Conference Finals champion for the Panthers. That just tells me it's just in a shutout, 3-0. That just tells me it's not great things. Not really great things or signs. Signs from what I'm hearing for this team. So it's just not looking great. But the Rangers better address something, or else they're going to be beaten by this really good Florida Panthers team.
Yeah, to be honest, it seems like, Florida kind of has one hand on the cup right now. I think I've been saying it for a while. They look like the best team that's left in the postseason, in my opinion. They're scoring a lot of goals. They got a great goaltender in Bobrovsky, who looks like he's in peak playoff form. They look pretty scary right now. I'm not gonna lie. I think if we had gotten past the Rangers last round, I would have been pretty scared of this Florida Panther team, to be honest. Particularly once they get back to their home ice as well. They've already won one game up in New York, so they look like they're going to be representing the Eastern Conference in the Cup. I don't know, Mike, what do you think?
Yeah, probably so. I haven't scouted too much on the finals as of yet, but yeah, Florida looks awesome.
They're scoring a lot of goals, Jack. That's for sure. So I'm not sure anybody can stop them if they keep putting the puck in the back of the net at this rate.
It could be Panthers and Stars.
Well, the Rangers better.
Thought, yeah.
Well, the Rangers. Yeah, right. Well, the Rangers better come up with something, or else their season, unlike the Carolina Hurricanes in the last round, are going to be over very quickly. So they better get something done, or else they're going to do what the Carolina Hurricanes did in the last round: pack their bags on vacation on a beach.
Head up to Saratoga to watch the Belmont Stakes.
What do you what are you thinking about the Western Conference then?
Yeah. So in the Western Conference,
Don't want to count Edmonton out, do we?
no, never. They're a good team. Connor McDavid and those guys are just they just look really good. Beat the Vancouver Canucks in a thrilling game 7 in the last round. As for the Dallas Stars, yeah, they're a pretty good team too. And home, they're a pretty good team too. But if I had to pick one of those teams in that round, I would probably have to say Edmonton, the Oilers. And not just that I'm picking them to win to advance to the Stanley Cup final. It would also be the first time that a team north of the border hasn't gone to the Stanley Cup final in more than like what is it, like 30 or 31 years or so.
Yeah,
That would be the
I don't
longest
think anybody's won,
drought.
a Canadian team has won in like, yeah, I think since like 93 or something. Yeah, which is crazy. I think a couple of teams have made it to the final, but it's been a long time since a Canadian team has won the cup, which is pretty crazy stat, huh?
I know it would be great if the Oilers, like I said, I'm picking them to win to advance to the Stanley Cup final, and if they win the series and go to the Stanley Cup final, and and if they go on to win the Stanley Cup, maybe they could be the team to do it. And I think it would be, yeah, it would just I mean, it would just feel great for the fans of Edmonton and for their fans, and they would just really you would really want to see the drought to be over, and I think the fans and their team can really taste it, and I think that they really can really can really feel it. I know that the fans are wanting this, but yeah, it would be really cool to see Edmonton win to advance the Stanley Cup final, even though we haven't gone past this series yet. But if they were to advance to go to the Stanley Cup final, it would just be a dream come true for them.
I agree. Yeah, I think my head says the Stars are a better team, but my heart wants Edmonton to do well. Like you said, they've got the hockey history on their side, Gretzky, all those great teams back in the 80s, Canadian team. It's a hockey town. So
I'm a Washington sports fan, so it's always hard for me to root for a Dallas team.
there you go. There you go.
Mm.
So the plucky underdog Oilers
Yeah.
against the mean old Stars from the Big D. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a interesting series, and like we said, they arguably have the best player in this series, McDavid. He's a really exciting player to watch, and he's certainly going to cause Dallas some problems, I would imagine. So, yeah, who knows? Who knows? This end up could being a Canadian team that ends up going all the way. You never do
Guess
know in
all
this
the way to
sport.
Florida.
Edmonton to Florida in a cup final, that would be a nice little reprieve. I think last year we had Vegas and Florida, which is pretty hilarious for a hockey series, going from taking a Southwest flight from Las Vegas to Miami, having a couple of mojitos along the way. That's classic hockey vibes.
Actually, Blake, from Las Vegas to Fort Lauderdale to be
My
exact.
mistake. My mistake.
Yeah, it would be a flight from Las Vegas to Fort Lauderdale.
You can go to a couple outlet malls
Yeah,
before the game.
yeah. So it's Fort Lauderdale, Sunrise area, not
Right.
like South Beach, Miami Beach area. More like a little further north in the Fort Lauderdale Sunrise area. Kind of kind of more in that area, to be exact.
Yeah, they're one of the few teams that has a basketball team and a hockey team in the same like general vicinity, but they play in different stadiums. It's kind of a weird fact about that. But I guess the hockey fans and basketball fans are different population in Miami, so it's fair enough, I suppose. What's our
Yeah.
next topic, Jack?
All right. So, we will talk some Indy 500 a little later, but right now we're going to talk some baseball. Uncle Mike's favorite sport
America's
that he
pastime.
follows here on Good Guy Sports, compared to the other guests and co-hosts that follow their own sport. So we're going to get to Uncle Mike's sport now and
He's the
talk some.
expert around here.
He is, and we will talk some baseball and the latest scores and standings, and all that stuff. And currently from what I've read, the Braves are in second place right now. Even though they won, even though they've won the game 3-0 over the Cubs at Wrigley Field, they're not in first. The reason why they're not in first place is because of injuries they have suffered, and that's why they're
Yeah.
and that's why they're not
Well, they
that's
should
why
be
that's why
getting
that's why they're
Sean.
not
They
in
should
full
get.
control.
They should be getting Murphy back next week, and Riley is probably 2 weeks away.
Yeah.
But the real reason, I think, is Philadelphia. The Phillies are just killing it. They've won 9 out of the last 10 games. And they're, Wheeler won again today. I mean,
Yeah.
them and the Guardians are the hottest teams in baseball right now. Now the Braves caught a lucky break today. They go up to Pittsburgh this weekend, but Skeens has already pitched for Pittsburgh. Skeens pitched today. 6 innings. Poor Pittsburgh finally lost though. They let the Giants score 5 runs in the top of the 8th to lose the
Crazy.
game. That'd be something that the Nationals would have done.
And as for the other team up in the Mid Atlantic DMV area slash DC up in the the other MLB team up in the Mid Atlantic, the Orioles are currently in second place behind the first place New York Yankees. Who knows how long that's going to last? Even though baseball's a very long season, but something tells me this team's going to be very fragile, and they can't even get they can't even make a deep postseason run and get the World Series. Although the Yankees, the Bronx Bombers, that is, would really love to see if they even make it to the World Series, which is probably unlikely, a long way to go. But I just don't think I picture it. I just think I see it happening. But the Yankees, I mean, they keep getting too many injuries with their star pitchers and players on this roster, and I just don't think the Yankees I just don't think they're going to be making the World Series anytime soon, if not for many years. In fact, them and the Dallas Cowboys are like one of the most longest tenured franchises that never made it to the World Series or ever win it. It's just really just
Well, the Yankees are
unthinkable to
already
me.
at they're already at a $300 million salary. So, and they got to try to sign Soto to a long-term deal at the end of this season, or he's going to walk. I mean, they're going to
Seems
have
like a
to
rental to me.
They're going to have to do some creative math in order to keep the core team of the Yankees intact, because every one of them is on a 9-figure contract. So it's going to be tough. I mean, if the Yankees don't do it this year, they're going to be a different team next year because of the salary requirements. But the Orioles, I wouldn't count them out. They're a hot team.
Yeah, they seem like they're going to be the class of that division. It seems like for a good while. So,
yeah,
which is what most people thought coming into the year. But if the Yankees can hang around there, you never know. They could just all the players they've assembled, sort of this veteran team, could end up, finally getting over the hump. I mean, you never really know if you get hot. You don't want to peak too early, right? That's kind of the argument I have for the Braves, is that we were such a great regular season team last year, and then the postseason just kind of ran out of gas. So
yeah,
it's not necessarily the worst thing in the world to slide into that wild card, but obviously you want to kind of, solidify your playoff position as well, of course.
yeah.
So
Well, the season's still, I mean, we're almost a third of the way through, but still there's a lot of baseball still to play.
tons of baseball, whole summer,
Plenty
dog
of
days of
baseball.
summer.
Austin Riley still, I mean, he's hurt now, but he hadn't come he needs to start hitting the ball. So he will be before the season's over with.
definitely.
And, so we shall see.
And
Now the Nash,
as far as the other standing goes, nobody saw this coming, but the Mariners are in first place, followed by the
Mhm.
Rangers, and the Astros took a little jump in the standings in the third place. And I'm pretty sure something tells me about Kyle Tucker and one of their star upcoming rookie players. Something tells me that they might be making another postseason playoff run, if not for the division. Like a prediction in our baseball predictions that they would still be the team. They would still be the team to beat in the AL West, and that's why I still have them winning
yeah.
the AL West. But
The,
if but if I have changed my mind of making a pick in that division, I think on the that would probably say the Texas Rangers are also red hot in that division as well, because despite they lost
Well,
despite they
Seattle's playing
actually
well
lost
as
to the
well, though.
Phillies
No,
today, but
but the Rangers had another pitcher go down,
yeah,
John Gray.
it's not
And
whatever it is, it's not great for the team. So
it doesn't look like DeGrom's going to come back before the All-Star. That's what they're projecting to be after the All-Star. And Max Scherzer's poor Max ought to just retire.
yeah.
But they've
Think they put him on ice for October, or
well, you know, you really want him to come back.
maybe if they just ice his arm for 2 months straight, and
Yeah,
then he can throw 110
yeah,
after that, maybe. But
yeah. I'm excited because the Mariners are going to be in town here in Washington
oh,
over the
nice.
weekend, so I'm gonna go see them Sunday afternoon. I get to see the Mariners play, so I'm excited about that.
Yeah, you gotta
That
give
should
us
be
the full
fun.
in-person scouting report. Let us
Yeah,
know if you
yeah.
think you're watching future
Hmm.
American League champions.
Yeah. The only downside for me is I think that poor Patrick Corbin will probably be pitching on Sunday.
Mm.
And yeah, I feel for him. He did great in 2019, but he hasn't done a whole lot since. So I feel for him because nobody wants to go out and continuously lay eggs.
Could be a long day at the
mm,
office.
mm.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I've never seen the Mariners haven't been in town. I don't think I've ever seen them play. So that's gonna be fun.
Yeah, good to see those American League teams that you don't always get a chance to look at
Hmm.
for those
Yeah,
in-person games. Yeah,
that's why
that's
I liked when they changed this starting last year when they changed the schedule, so you're not playing so many division games,
so
so you get an
you
opportunity to
prefer
play.
you prefer the current way they're doing it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, why play your division rivals 19 times a year?
I agree. I
I mean,
agree. Yeah.
it's just no, you don't need that. Uh, you play them
Particularly when you
enough
got so many stinky teams like the Marlins. I mean, then again, you can
yeah,
always stat pad against the Marlins
yeah,
too. But
yeah. I mean, so you play the division rivals enough times anyway. So
it's true. Yeah, I think I'm sure the reason they did that was for the big matchups. They wanted to get as many Yankees, Red Sox games
hmm
or Dodgers, Giants games as possible. But I tend to agree with you. I think spreading it out, getting a bit more variety, like now that there's no obviously there's no differences between American League and National League, like there's really no point, right? So
yeah, I mean, it's basically like the NFL now. You have the
right.
National Football Conference, American Football Conference. Now you have MLB at the top, and you've got the National League and American League, but it's the same baseball.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. So looking at the Central division and the West division right now, the Brewers and Cubs are neck to neck. It's really close. You have 28 wins, 27 wins for the Cubs, and 21 losses and 24 losses to the Cardinals. If you see how close that gap is of where this race really stands, it could like go really could go back and forth the way that division is playing out. And as far as and as for the West, no surprise, Dodgers are still on top of the NL West, of course. of course,
Surprise,
the star player
surprise.
of the current
They're just
generation
buying that division
of Major
every
League
year, aren't they?
Baseball, if not for sports, Shohei
You
Ohtani.
just write a big check,
Yeah.
says
Just
National League
yeah,
West on it, and then just,
who by far I
give it to
think
the commissioner.
who by far I think, other than Babe Ruth, the greatest baseball player of all time.
It looks like Babe Ruth to me, man. Then again, he's not pitching right now, I guess, but he's swinging the stick like Babe Ruth right now, that's for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, well,
he's-
Shohei and like Babe Ruth is right there, although it's early, but he's going to have a long career of his tenure as one of the most current active MLB players out there, if not for all sports. Then, yeah, yes, he will be the greatest player ever lived in the modern generation of MLB history.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had picked the beginning of the year the Diamondbacks, but I'm not counting the Diamondbacks out just quite yet. Jock Peterson's having a good year with the stick as the DH. He was a big good pickup for him, and Carroll is slumping right now.
Yeah, not quite the same levels they were hitting last year,
he's
right?
not at the same level they need him to be.
Yeah.
But it's still early. But yeah, the Brewers and the Cubbies, particularly I think the Cubbies, Swanson's back. They've got some good arms, so it's fun.
Yeah, we did end up winning that series against them these past couple of days, but
Yeah.
it's certainly they're certainly not a bottom feeder by any means. I think they're gonna definitely make the playoffs this year, it seems like, and
Yeah.
I always like having Wrigley in the playoffs, so I'm not too mad about that.
Yeah, indeed. Well, that's good. Good road trip for the Braves. Then playing in Pittsburgh for the next 3 days. But
Yeah,
that's a neat stadium, Pittsburgh. So
PNC Park is was one of my favorites when I've been there before, and it's very beautifully designed, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've actually never been there, but I'm going to go up there in September when the Nationals are playing.
Nice. Yeah, you're gonna love that.
Yeah, me and the two of my ex-staffers, we got our field trip lined up to go up to Pittsburgh.
Very nice, very nice. Yeah, I guess
Well,
they've got the big pit. Go ahead.
What were we saying?
Oh no, I was just saying for them, like I think Mike mentioned, they got the big pitchers Skeen is how you say his name? Skeens
Yeah.
coming through, and not much else, but obviously,
I mean, he's an ace in the making.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
he gave up a lot of hits today, but he only gave up 1 run. The time before that, he pitched 6 innings of no-hit ball. So
yeah. So hopefully for his sake, they'll surround him with talent over the next couple of years, or else he'll play. he'll be playing for the Dodgers or
he'll be
Yankees
playing
or
with
whatever.
somebody else eventually, because
Yeah, no, I'm too cynical. I'm too just enjoy him.
Garrett Cole started out as a Pirate.
You just gotta enjoy the players while you still have them.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see some of those mid-level teams come up.
There's no reason Pittsburgh can't compete for a wild card spot. I mean, it's not like they like their division. They don't have it, Atlanta or LA or even Philadelphia, like these big spending teams. So
that's what I meant. They're not gonna be having a payroll at the Dodgers or the Yankees.
Sure.
Have. So it's good to see some of these small budget teams do well.
Absolutely.
And you and your work friends or your colleagues or whoever you're going with on this field trip, you're going to really enjoy Pittsburgh and the passion and the city itself and
great sports
how
city.
it started. Yeah, great sports town.
I want to see the running pierogies.
Absolutely.
Running pierogies.
Those are like the mascots that run, during the game. No, he's not familiar. That's okay.
That's all right.
Watch a video on it.
If you go to Pittsburgh, they're known for their sandwiches with French fries, and you add it on
Romani Brothers
on this bun. Yeah, and
yeah.
if you go to one of the hot spots in town, I think you might want to try and enjoy it if you so do desire.
Great recommendation.
Yeah.
So let's do our
All right,
Indy
so
500 preview, Jack.
yeah, let's get
Rain.
yes.
That's it. Canceled. Next. Nah, I'm
Yeah.
just
All right.
Tuesday.
Well, I'm just gonna so I'm just gonna just have to get in a few more topics before we close up the show before we get
all right, make it
us out of
snappy
here.
then.
Yeah. All right. So let's move on and start yes and talk the recap of the PGA Championship and and I can tell you that this championship has had some roller coaster emotions up and down and had so many headlines where yeah you had the Sky Shepherd incident off the course and so many and so much was happening on Friday where there was fog and there was an incident like in the entrance of the golf course. Traffic was backed up and it had so much weather delays and then you had in the weekend um heading into Sunday. The other headline I had for this golf major is Xander Schauffele. Could he find a way to get it done? And still, everybody thought everybody thought he everybody thought Sky Scheffler and we all know what happened with off the course with what Sky Scheffler went through, and yet he still found a way to get on the course and still went out there and played some competitive golf. And but Saturday he just had too many mistakes and just got tried to get the ball out of the rough and just had too many just got too greedy with all the shots that he made and just really wasn't his day and tournament as it should be. It just happens to be one of those weeks that he couldn't get it done. And he thought he was going to be the next Tiger Woods, but turns out not to be this week, but maybe in the next major when he's favored, especially leading up into the next golf major, which is currently underway, which is
Charles Schwab
at the Charles Schwab's Invitational challenge actually.
challenge.
So so heading into Sunday, we all thought I mean, look, it was a battle. It was just really going wire to wire. It went back and forth. It was very competitive in the final round where you had it going back and forth. It was just where it looked like it was going to go to a playoff in the 18th hole, where you had Bryson DeChambeau and Xander Schauffele and Victor Hovland. They thought they had their moment and shot at it to win this thing, except they were a couple of breaks that didn't go their way, and then Bryson DeChambeau birdied in the 18th hole, and the 18th hole just had an eagle opportunity, and Valhalla. I'm sure you've seen over the years of how it played out with the Tiger and Kate May and Kate May back and forth going at it in the 2000 championship, where back then it was played in August, not in May, and then Rory McIlroy 10 years ago won it in 2014 in the dark, and then fast forward to this year where you had Xander Schauffele and Bryson DeChambeau, where Valhalla always has drama and epic bat and an epic wire to wire in dramatic fashion as it should be, and then we thought Xander Schauffele was going to choke and not win a major at all in his playing career. Hasn't won a PGA Championship since 2022 to date back, and now the final putt where everybody on TV watching or in person at the 18th hole just got nervous and thought it was not going to drop and go in, and then all of a sudden, which we all thought it did, and then everybody just was nervous and just really anxious and thought the ball was just going to like slip out or whip out or just slide left or right wherever direction it was going. And he made this putt, and everybody was just yelling at him at the ball and thought it was going to go in, and thought it and thought it was, and everybody thought, and Bryson was watching at the 18th, and he thought the ball was going to miss and go into a playoff. Instead, the ball drops. Xander Schauffele gets his wish, and and the ball drops in the 18th hole, and everybody was cheering and loud, and and Xander Schauffele couldn't believe it that he actually won his first major by capturing the first golf major of winning the 2024 PGA Championship at Valhalla, which is really unexpected, and nobody saw this coming, and yet it happened, and Xander Schauffele wins his first major ever in his career, and he finally got it done at Valhalla Country Club after all these disappointments and all these disappointments, top 10 two finishes, and and yet look at him now. He's on top of the leaderboard, and he finished his golf and then he finished his final round with 21 under, and he's finally got it done after all these heartbroken disappointments. He finally won it, and it's in the record books, and he got it done his first time in his career. What a golf tournament, and what a way to finish off and cap off the PGA Championship, guys.
Well, getting back to Scotty Scheffler, I mean, for someone who had a off weekend, he still ended up tied for 8th at -13. So that's pretty good for having an off day.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy, and yeah, I think good for Xander getting his first major as well. Maybe this will be kind of a kickstart for him going forward, right?
Yeah, get the get that out of the way.
Absolutely.
Get the yips out of the way,
As they say.
Yeah.
As they say.
All right.
We doing our IndyCar preview now?
Yeah. So real quick before I
Come on.
Yeah.
Real
Quick.
Been waiting all day for this.
I know, that's the second car race this weekend.
Yes, it is on the calendar year, and Championship Sports Season by MP Sports, and is by far the most watched sporting events out there, unlike the Super Bowl.
Okay,
and
what's the next topic before IndyCar? Come on.
Oh, yeah. Actually, next topic I just wanted to just share with you about to recap very quick before I move on, very quick to the Indy 500 on predictions. Yeah. About our predictions from the Freaking Stakes last week. Yeah, we were wrong. Mystic Sand did not come in first place. Everybody thought it was going to happen, but it didn't. Instead, She's the Great won, came out as the winner this year, and Mystic Dan actually finished in runner-up. So top 2 finish for him, but came very close from what I've seen on many of the highlights I've watched, and then followed by Catching Freedom finishes in third place. So that's just that's how good as it gets for a sports race, and for horse racing, and yeah, Freaking Stakes just has all for what it has to offer. Mike, I got to ask you very quick before I move on to the next topic that we have to get to. I got to ask you, did you watch the Freaking Stakes PGA Championship, or had baseball on? What did you watch the most on this Saturday?
Baseball and the Preakness were the most that I watched. I did see some of the PGA Championship, but I couldn't get too upset with Seas de Gray since that's the color of my hair now. I enjoyed it. 88-year-old trainer Wayne Lucas winning his 7th Preakness race was kind of exciting. So now it's on to the Belmont Stakes, in which will be run in Saratoga this year, since Belmont Park is doing some construction. That'll be on June 8th. So we've got time to plan that one.
No, we sure do. We sure do. Plenty of time. Plenty of time. All right. Finally, we're gonna to our last topic, the Indy 500. So I'm reading into this article on who has the current odds of winning this year's Indianapolis 500. Of course, it is one of the races that my grandmother watches every year. Unlike baseball that she watches, but she's always in the sports racing, like many of us are. So from Scott McLargan and defending champion Joseph Newgarden are the two favorites to keep an eye on for this year's race.
Mhm.
One of the favorites teammates, Will Power, shows behind in the mix with Power is Carl Larson, who is competing in the Indy 500 and NASCAR's Coca-Cola 600 in Charlotte, which
Yeah, he's a NASCAR
is
driver,
a
right?
big, yes, he's a
Wow.
to do Indy 500 and 600 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day is just a bit too crazy for me.
Yeah. Is there anybody going to be running both the Monte Carlo Grand Prix and the Indianapolis 500?
I would like to see some crossover with F1 and Indy 500. I'm sure there's the F1 guys probably look down on the IndyCar and vice versa, but they seem relatively similar now.
Yeah, the Monte
Apart from
Carlo
the tracks.
Grand Prix will be run Sunday.
The Monaco Grand Prix is this weekend,
Mhm,
or is it Monte
yeah.
Carlo or Monaco
Monte Carlo.
or Monte Carlo?
Carlo
Okay.
Grand Prix, yeah.
Interesting. Lots of big race weekend, I guess, huh?
Yeah, if you got a big yacht, there you go.
Well, I was looking at the odds as well, Jack, and there's some guy who's a plus 20,000 named Stingray Rob in the
Stingray Rob.
So keep an eye
Rob.
out for Stingray. You know, he might not win, but you know, he might do better than the prediction. So keep an eye on Stingray.
Yeah, get your vet.
Also, before we yeah, something to keep an eye on. Also, before we go, we got to get a big shout out because today is happened to be yesterday happens to be Uncle Mike and Aunt Lori's birthday. So we we want to wish you a
Happy birthday.
happy birthday
Thank you.
to our beloved co-host Uncle Mike.
Thank you, Jack. Thank you, Blake. It's also your aunt. Yesterday was also your Aunt Sue's birthday.
Lots of birthdays in the family
yes.
this time of year, huh?
Oh yes.
Very exciting. Happy birthday to all the extended family we have here at Good Guy Sports, right, Jack?
That's right. Everybody who has a birthday, we will sing your wishes for you. Anybody that you know who has a birthday, like all of us do, we'll be happy to do it for you on Good Guy Sports.
I'm sure the best birthday gift would be a nice Nationals series this weekend, right?
Yes, indeed.
And also a happy Memorial Day to all of our men and women and veterans out there, and how much you really care about the American people and our freedom. We'll always be there for protect you, for the men who serves overseas and really and really thinking about them all the time, and we're always there in our hearts, and our thoughts and prayers, and men and women who died in our soul and our freedom. We're always being there for you, the men and women in our hearts, in our military, or no matter what branch you serve. We'll always be there for you, and want to thank you for your service and for the men and women who really are part of this country.
Well said, Jackie. Jack,
Yeah.
thank you.
Well said, man. Well said.
Very well said.
All right, guys. Great talking to you. Have a great Memorial
Likewise.
Day weekend, and we will talk to you next Thursday.
Absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Sounds great. Thank you. All right. Go Nationals.